So as we start here on the preview, I'll pull that back down a little. We're at the end of your packet, that last page on 15 here. So first things first, you're like, Hardy, dang it. You're back in Unit 10 again, aren't you? Yes. So if you've got your Unit 10 notes still, we've got free reign. If not, we'll just kind of focus here and see if we can get ourselves some helpful hints to remember. So for each function, describe the transformations. Again, that is a really fancy, mathematical word for shifts or changes to your graph. So all that you're being asked to do on these is say what the thing means. And there is going to be a word bank there for you tomorrow as well. So again, stretch and compress. We were kind of saying before, stretch is when it gets bigger. Compressed is like when you smash a can or something and make it smaller. So you can kind of look, and if you're not sure, anybody think they know what this first one is, what that 1/4 would do in front? Stretch, I'm being told. So if I'm not sure, and I want to look and see, okay, what does this look like? I can type it into my calculator. Now, stretch when we're doing it. Oh, this is going to kill me to do, but I'm going to do it anyway. Oh, gosh. I'm just having some shoulder things, so I'm like, that's not good. Stretch is mainly when it gets skinnier and gets taller like this. If it compresses, it's like it was taking your parabola and smashed down, so it's getting kind of wider. I'll be honest, I would take either of those tomorrow. Don't let anybody know, even though I'm putting this all over YouTube. This one would actually be a compression. If it's a fraction, it's going to be a compression. Let's write that on here.
That's not good right now.
If it's a fraction, it's a compression. I don't know. I'm just putting it with the definitions above it. So vertical stretch is the whole number. Vertical compression would be a fraction. So wait, hey, can we put that to use somewhere right away? Ooh.
Second one.
Number 2.
I mean, it's a vertical.
Whole number in front. This is going to be a vertical stretch. Okay. Not bad, not bad. Now, I think for the rest of these, I think we're going to be okay. Plus 10 at the end, not in parentheses. Can we remember what direction that's going to shift? Let's see if we can get a hint going here. So if I've got a couple of reminders here. Just little reminders, I'm saying. Little reminders, never going to hurt. Never going to hurt, especially coming from the guy who knows what's on the quiz. So I look at this and I go, okay, so let's see. If I'm kind of using the little clue that I wrote there, this plus 10 is not in parentheses. It's outside. So it looks like we're down to 50-50. Is that plus 10 going to be up 10 or down 10? Up 10. So even if we put up, it'd fine, but I'm going to put up 10 because that's what it is. So each of these are going to have 1. Well, most of them are. I look at the next one. Minus 2 inside the parentheses. Use the hint. Because it's literally right there. Oh, false. Inside is left and right. It's the opposite of what we think. So we'd be going right to, now, I'll even say this. I didn't do this on the last one. Let me come back here. if I wanted to see what this looked like, so if I typed that in and I hit graph, okay, normally if I just type in x squared, it starts at 0, but it didn't start at 0. It started 2 to the right of that. So if I type it in, I might get a little bit of a hint on what that's going to look like. Just saying. Just saying. All right, let's look at this next one there too. So negative x squared, I'm looking, oh. So what happened?
It went down.
It went down. So normally, if I have plain old x squared, it opens up. So it kind of looks like when you flip something over, when you see the reverse image of it, like it's in a mirror. What do you call it when you look in a mirror and you see something? Reflection. It is. It's the reflection. If that's in the word bank, I'm going to go ahead and use it. Because, again, the person writing this probably knows what's coming. So it would help. Yeah, I'd still know what you meant by reflection. Now, this last one has 2. Okay, fire away.
Left 6 and
Perfecto. Yeah, left 6, down 9. Couldn't do it any better. Couldn't do it any better. So the other thing I'll mention as we work through the rest of this first page is if there are many formulas and things, we gave you a word bank here. We're going to give you the formula to use for both parts of this next question. Find the axis of symmetry. That's just this. And the vertex for the function. Okay. So, job 1. Knew I heard that. So, to find the axis of symmetry, it says negative b over 2a. You're like, okay, so the number in front of x is my b. The number at the end is c. You're like, Hardy, we don't need c. I know, but I'm labeling things. And if there's not a number in front of x squared, okay, that's 1. Well, in this particular case, I don't see c in the formula. So we're not going to need it this time. So, the opposite of b over 2 times a. What's up?
Can it be
Technically it could be. It's not going to be this time.
what?
So the opposite of b would be negative 20. 2 times 1 is 2. So negative 20 divided by 2 is negative. So here's the thing. When I find my axis of symmetry, and again, you've got to have the equals x here. If you don't have the equals x, it's not an axis. It's just a number. That also tells me the value of my vertex x value. Well, Hardy, how do I get y then? We're going to plug it in. So every place you see an x, we're going to plug it in. I don't have to put this in y equals in the calculator. I just need this part. So I want to make sure I use the parentheses wherever I'm putting my negative 10 in. Exactly. And so I get negative 50. So it's negative 10, negative 50 for my vertex. Negative 10, negative 50. Nope, don't have to say commas or parentheses or anything like that. Nope, we assume it's going to be that point. So then the applications. Oh boy. Now, here's the thing. This is the same thing as questions 1 through 6. It's just worded differently. So look up to our answers in 1 through 6. There's 2 transformations in each one of these. So up 8, I'm with you. Nice. Because again, the 8 is not in parentheses. It's not a left or right.
And the other one is down 6.
Okay. Whole number in front of the x squared. Okay. Vertical stretch. Yep, we're making it stretching it out like taffy. The word bank will be there. Word bank, yep, word bank will be there.
Where's the word bank?
Up the top. Yeah, in that 1 through 6 section. Okay, so now, number 2 down here is going to be similar to number 1 right here. So this is going to be very similar. I'm going to put a little star by this. Very similar to this, because here comes the opposite of b over 2a again. So here's my a. Here's my b. So question 1. Find the time t for the rocket to reach a maximum height. Well, they tell me right here how to find t. There's the equation. So
It would be -8. And then -16.
now, here is one thing you've got to keep in mind when you do this. Do not type this all in at the same time. Well, let me show you what's going to happen if you do. So -80 divided by 2 times negative. No, but you're going to get a crazy, ridiculous number. So that's not the answer. Don't write that down. You're like, well, what do I do then, Hardy? Multiply these together first. And when we do -80 divided by -32, that is more reasonable. So I'd make sure I write this second fraction in here
Put seconds.
just to remind you with it. Wow,
Let's put seconds.
it'd be a good idea. We're talking about time. Is it 2.5 minutes, 2.5 hours? So yeah, getting a label, good idea. Now, then it says find the maximum height. You're like, okay, what's that mean? Oh, h equals height. So we're going to use the h equals equation. And I'm actually going to write it here, so I kind of, if I look at it later, I'm like, where did Hardy get this from? So, but now I know what t is. It's 2.5. And so I'm going to copy the rest of this expression, and anywhere I see a t, I'm going to replace it with 2.5. And this I can type the whole thing in the calculator at once. This is going to be h. Oh dear. And again, we want to put a label because it's 100 feet. Is it 100 feet, 100 miles, 100 inches? I don't know. Well, I do. My measurements are right here. So I can get those and work that through. So again, it's some review stuff, but if you know some of the basics, and there are going to be clues on there with the equations and the word bank to try and help you out. What for the last one? 100? Whoops, hang on. I'm not there. I'm over here. Okay. Now into our stuff that we've been working on our notes on this past week. So, factor using a greatest common factor. So, if I've got my notes, and I do, I need the biggest number that goes into all my terms. I even got my chart too. So if I'm looking in the 4 box and the 24 box, what's the biggest number that's in both boxes?
4.
4. So I can take a 4. And then if all your terms have an exponent, they do, take the smallest one. Okay? But that's not the whole job. Now, to put what's left in there, we're going to do some division. So 4 divided by 4 is 1. 3 minus 2 absolutely is x, or x to the first. Either one's fine. So again, divide the bigs, subtract the littles. And we can even say divide big numbers, subtract exponents. Now, I didn't have that in my original notes. This is what a good study skill is going to be. You learn as you're going along. Okay, is there any other extra little thing I can add in here to help myself out? And that's one I think could help us out. So last part, 24 divided by 4? 6. And 2 minus 2 is 0. We're factored. Hardy, do I have to write it down here where you got the blank stuff? No, I'm cool. If you put it up there, that's great. And so we're just going to continue with that process. I look at my 8 and my 20 box. What's the biggest number in both boxes? 4. No. No, as long as you show me your answer, I'm okay. They do both have x's, so we'll do that. And again, our newly found help here. Divide the big, subtract the little. And yes, you've got to watch for signs as you go. Divide the big, subtract the little, and if it's 0, we just don't put a variable with it. Not bad, not bad. So one last time. Three and 15 here. We've got 3. We do have a variable with both. So we take the smallest exponent one. That works. And again, everything I need is right here. Divide the bigs, subtract the littles. Divide the bigs, subtract the littles. But this time there's one change. That equals 0, and that word solve is here. So when that happens, I take each piece and again, I could do it up here, down here. I set them equal to 0, and I solve the mini equations by doing one opposite. And away we go. So just one extra step, and we should be doing okay. All right, grouping. Let's keep the notes going here. Move this up a little more so we hopefully can get our notes in here too. All right. Colors, I will have colors in the back if that helps to kind of keep things separated here. And so basically, we're doing the exact same thing we did in the last section. We're still looking for the biggest number that divides into both. If they both have a variable, we take the littlest exponent out. You're like, well, why the heck are we doing this again? It's just the same thing. Divide the bigs, subtract the littles. Divide the bigs, subtract the littles. Here's why we do this. That is a big clue for the rest of our problem, because now when I do this purple set, I better get that same value in the parentheses or I did something wrong. Uh-oh. So let's see here. 8 and 4. 4 is the biggest one that goes in. Hardy, why aren't you taking out a variable this time? There's only one variable. I don't have a variable in my other term. I can't take a variable unless they all have it. 8 divided by 4. 2. So far, so good. 4 divided by 4 is 1. That's what I need. If I get this, I've done it right. And so to do my answer now, we put the leftovers that are on the outside, we put them together in a set of parentheses. And then we put the common quantity in for our other. So you'll start to see as you do these, again, if you've practiced at all, you're going to see how quick a lot of this goes. Because again, I look at this point and I'm like, okay, I've seen all this a bajillion times now. 4 and 8, I can get a 4 out of each. Again, if I wasn't sure, my chart, sure. I can take an X, divide the bigs, subtract the littles. Divide the bigs, subtract the littles. So I got my clue. X plus 2, or 1x plus 2 is the clue. What's the biggest number going to go into these? 5. Yeah. If your first term has a negative, take the negative with. I'm telling you, it'll be worth it. Negative divided by negative is positive. Negative 10 divided by negative 5 is positive 2. That's what we're looking for, people. Signs matter, so pay close attention to make sure that your signs are good to go. But now again, the equals 0 has shown back up. So make sure that we go ahead and we do this last step of solving both of my equations. And yes, you can get decimals. Do not be concerned if you get a decimal. That was the long one. We got the short one now, which is always nice. Now, some of you may be looking at this and go, man, this kind of seems like a chunky quiz. It's going to be a chunky quiz if you haven't practiced, because you're going to get locked up a lot with things. But again, even working through this review and maybe just working through a couple extra problems is probably going to still have you in pretty decent shape. Well, I'm rocking this whole bottom part down. I'm not. No, I'm going in order. So let me bump up a little more. Oops, I'm getting stuck in wires. Hang on a minute here. Okay. So I get up here to the top. And, all right, here's what we've been up to for the past couple of days. Here's my B. Here's my C. First thing I do, I go looking for my signs. I'm like, okay, my C is a positive. So either both numbers are positive or both numbers are negative. look at the sign in the middle. So they're going to be plus. So now I'm trying to find a pair of numbers that multiply to 36 and are going to add up to 15. So let's see here. Let's do a little more folding. So here's my 36 box. Which one of those pairs is going to add up to 15? 12 and 3. Does it matter if I write 3 and 12 or 12 and 3? If the signs are the same, it does not. Okay, that one's factored. So then I play with the next one. Now, little different thought process this time. Still looking at B. I'm still looking at C. My C value is negative. So there's going to be one positive and one negative. So this time when I go looking at my chart, and I'm looking here in the 30, and you're like, Hardy, wait a minute. If I'm looking in the 30, none of those pairs add up to 7. Now that's true, but when the signs are different, you're seeing, where can I find two numbers that are 7 apart? Or like even to go so far as to say if I subtracted them, I can find two that are 7 apart from each other. So does it matter which one goes where? Yes. That absolutely is the sign of the bigger number. Nope.
Thanks.
So, the bigger number of my pair is 10. So, the 10 gets the positive. The 3 gets the negative. Because, remember, my two numbers are always going to multiply to this, or at least they should. So, let's see, 10 times negative 3 is negative 30. And they should add up to this. 10 plus negative 3 is positive 7. So I can even check if I'm not sure that I did something correctly. Okay. Last one, you've almost made it. Everything is plus, so okay, that part's easy. I like that. So let's see here. 28. Okay, here's my 28 box. I need two numbers that are going to add up to 16. 1 and 28 add up to 16? No. 4 and 7 add up to 16? No.
Huh?
2 and 14 do. 2 and 14. And so my last piece now is to take each of those and set them to 0 because it says solve and there's an equal 0 right there. So here's the thing. So we just walked through every one of these. We chatted about things. We answered some questions. We did some stuff. And we're still at under 30 minutes. So basically what I'm telling you here is we get done with time to spare tomorrow if we've been doing what we're supposed to. So reminder again. Yep, I will pull it back up in just a sec here. If you're looking for extra help on what we just did, I would get this onto my notes. If I haven't done my notes, I'd get them here and I'd grab a copy from the back. But other than that, I think you're going to get set. Aiden, have I got what you need on here?